Hey everyone, Adrian from Audio Excellence Canada, Vilip, Angus the Beef behind the microphones. Hope you're all doing well. So we are finally going to cover the review of the McIntosh C1100, top of the line, all singing, all dancing, all analog, all tube preamplifier, 2 chassis. And it's startling to me that we never did this review. I mean, we've been huge proponents of this. We've been selling lots of it ever since it came out. And for some reason, we just never got around to covering it. So Vilip said we should do it. So here it is. So let me run down the details a little bit. The C1100 is 2 chassis, $14,000 US. It has separate audio and separate control sections. Left and right channels are completely separate, both internally as well as the way that it connects to the 2 chassis. So if you look in the back of the unit or the units, you'll see there are 2 separate control cables going from one chassis to the other. It has the lowest distortion that McIntosh has ever measured out of their preamplifiers. And it's a tube design. So think of that. It measures 0.00005%. That's insane. Solid states don't measure that well. 6 balance inputs, 4 RCA inputs, moving magnet, moving coil with control, adjustment controls, total of 12 inputs. It has 6 12AX7As and 6 12AT7As. That's all the technical specs that I bothered to write down. Okay, Vilip.
What, it's my turn again?
It's your turn again.
Wow. So let me start by saying I mostly compared it. Obviously, we've been listening to this preamp forever, and we really love it. And I'm going to say right now, it's fantastic. But here are the reasons why.
Oh, wait, what system did we use to listen to it?
I think you had it hooked up MC611 monoblocks. We're using Nordos cabling. It's going into a pair of Sabrina X's, and we did switch back and forth between the C1100 and specifically the C22, the new version. Now, with the C1100, we've done lots of comparisons between. Well, I can't talk about the one, but we did this other one with the preamp that's more expensive and all transistor. And then we also did another comparison sort of with the D'Agostino progression, which is also all transistor. And I think even in that comparison, I elucidated how great the C1100 is, but we'll go into a bit more detail right now. I listened extensively to my playlist through the C22, and I quite liked it.
By the way, here's an advertisement again for all of you that would like to have either his playlist or mine. $10 for mine because I'm cheap, $20 for his. Donate to your favorite charity, take a screenshot, email it to us, info@audioexcellence.ca, and we'll send you our playlist. It's just our way of helping our audience and ourselves to give back to your community. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
I really like the C22. The C22 is a fabulous preamp. It does all those McIntosh things.
Wait a minute, we're talking about the C1100.
Yes. So of course, it begs the question. I'm going to do a comparison. I'm just listening to this fabulous preamp that we do recommend to a lot of our clients. And now I'm going to listen to the C1100. What am I going to notice immediately that is better? And I have to say, like, everything.
Okay, we're done. He just took my notes away. It's like, what the hell?
Well, we have said that before about other products, but in this case, I cannot be, that's the truest thing I can say. You can look at every parameter that is what we would consider to be, musically important. And the C1100 does that. And it does a few other things. And it actually is a completely insightful kind of preamp in many, many different ways. Not just about the music, but about I don't know, the way the music is played within the recording, the way that the audio gear reproduces that recording in a real space. So the first thing I notice, there's a great deal of energy in a kind of a resonant way with this preamp that I don't really hear with other preamps. Perhaps that's why I find it so emotionally engaging, because I'm reacting to it in a physiological way. I can feel the heartbeat of this preamp. Lots of other preamps can do other things. This has a heartbeat. You know that when you're in synchronization with it, you are much more connected to the music that you are currently playing. And that happened with almost every track. I don't really hear that at all in other preamps. Maybe Shindo does that a little bit, or in a slightly different way, but this preamp definitely does that. So when you play music, some music is very clean. You don't hear much of that, or you don't feel much of it. But then there's other music that has bass energy, mid-bass energy, and you can feel the room resonating in a kind of like natural syncopation. There's stuff that's going on back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's all within the gigantic soundstage that has pinpoint focus, which again, you don't expect with something that is tube in nature, because it generally doesn't have as much of that detail. Now, I wouldn't say it's the most detailed preamp I ever heard. There are other designs that I've heard with much, much more detail, but not nearly as musical as what. And musicality, and again, it's a sense of involvement. So what's very unique about this preamp, in my opinion, is that with the big power supply, it's able to do, I mean, we love power supplies. We advocate better power supplies. Power supplies make a difference. And with this preamp, it's able to do fast and slow. In other words, it has a really good sense of timing. It's not like Pratt, name products, but there's a sense of timing that's correct about it. And this is also to do with that resonance. So when you're playing something, if the instrument is a fast sounding instrument, this sounds fast. It sounds fast on this preamp. But the other thing is that I'm playing certain tracks where the bass line is a little bit slower. It's more languid. It's easier in its pace, and there's a bit of hesitation. And you hear that too in this preamp. So in other words, it can play elements that are very slow, but very accurately, which means that it's very fast all at the same time. And in my estimation, this preamp is actually fairly neutral sounding, because again, you're playing all these different tracks and they all sound as they should. So some tracks are leaner, more sparse, cleaner sounding. Other tracks have the kind of vibrant, resonant quality because the instrument itself sounds that way. So when you have a wooden body resonating, you definitely get the feel of the body with this preamp. It has flesh. It has a lot of flesh in the way it presents most of the music that goes through it, if the flesh is actually already in the recording. And that's why I mean it's more neutral, because when it doesn't have those things, it doesn't do them.
Yeah, in that sense, I entirely agree with you, because we often say, it has a certain McIntosh product has the traditional McIntosh sound. In other words, a slightly warmer, slightly forgiving, warm hue, but still nicely neutral, fast enough, detailed enough so that if you are an audiophile, you'll enjoy it. If you're a music lover, you'll enjoy it. If you're crazy, serious, not so audiophile, maybe you won't, because you're looking for things that only the extreme equipment will do. But that's not usually the client that buys McIntosh. But with the C1100, I found that while it certainly is a McIntosh, it's not quite the quote unquote McIntosh products that we're used to. It's way more, and yet still is so entirely and seductively musical. I don't know how to describe it better than that. Vilip's done a great job. So I'm sitting here in awe, thinking, I don't know what to say, because as soon as he said it's, what he said just now, I said, okay, that's it. All my notes are useless, because all I did was just take notes down in terms of the music that I listened to and how it touched me. But at the end of the day, he's right. It's in every parameter I can think of. It's certainly one of the top 3 or 4 preamps I've ever had the pleasure to either own or listen to or compare with. I'm sure there's products out there that may I have not heard or may be better, but I'm also sure that none of those crazy best of stuff is anywhere near this price. Because
double or triple,
at least, if not a whole lot more. And so I am so confident that if you are looking for fantastic preamplifier, this must be on your short list. I don't think you'll have any doubts after you hear it. It's that good.
I mean, we hear it all the time, so we are very much, it's become the normal thing. And when I hear other systems, I always compare it to this preamp.
Yeah.
And even when I listen to the D'Agostino stuff, I'm comparing it to this preamp.
Yeah, and well, why don't we talk a little bit about that? Because I'm a huge fan of D'Agostino. Everybody who knows me knows that. And there are certain things that the D'Agostino will do that this doesn't. It's more detailed. It's faster. It does more of the audiophile quality stuff. And to D'Agostino's, what is the word I'm looking for? Credit. Thank you. This is what happens when you get old. You have these senior moments. It is perhaps the best preamplifier that he's made, especially including his early Krell stuff, including the time he was with Krell. And his momentums are even better. What's fascinating is that the McIntosh is able to do the musicality effortlessly and for less money. It's not as well built, perhaps. It's got tubes, so you got to deal with tubes, when the time comes. But wow, how do you, the fact that it even competes is
it doesn't try to compete though in the same way.
Yeah, I'm just saying to compete that it is
yes.
in the same level, right? And I dare say we've had top quality audio researchers. We've had all kinds of stuff, and the brand that will not be mentioned for now. And this is effortlessly as good.
Well, I have the perfect word for it. This has soul.
Yeah.
I think that's...
It's like a zoom thing, Mazda.
maybe. But definitely, there's something alive in this preamp. It's quite wonderful.
Now it's going to drive me crazy. What is that advertisement that has the heartbeat? Is it the Chevrolet? One of you guys, whoever is watching that what I'm referencing to, please put in the comments, because it's going to drive me crazy now.
There's a few of them like that.
Yeah. The heartbeat of America. Is that Chevrolet? I don't know.
Well, it could be the C1100 from McIntosh.
Could be McIntosh.
Could be having that is the heartbeat of America.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It really, really is fantastic. I can't, I tried really hard after I went through the listening process. I tried really hard to think of a negative, and the only thing I really could think of is it's a lot of money. It is. That's the only thing I could think of. I really. From a sonic standpoint, I went through my notes. I was typing it up, and then I gave up because I thought, what's the point of typing it up? It's that good.
And like every track, you will notice something fantastic in a non-audiophile kind of way. It's just it just takes a hold of you, and it cradles you, and it caresses you in a way that a lot of other preamps can't do, and it engages you, it involves you, it just has this kind of, like, again, there's this idea of neutrality, and this is actually a neutral preamp, but it has warmth, it has richness, like I said, it has flesh. So are those neutral values or not neutral values? But in my opinion, this is a neutral sounding preamp.
Well, it also changes when you change different pieces of music. So it's not like it's always warm. It's warmer when the recording is that way If it's a bright recording, I played Led Zeppelin, and it toned it down just a little bit, but all the dynamics, whatever was in the recording was there. I played AC/DC. It's funny, I was playing AC/DC because the other day I happened to catch the a biopic, quote unquote, of Howard Stern, right? And when he finally had made it in New York City and he had AC/DC playing, so I'm thinking, oh my God, what a great track. So I came in this morning and I'm playing it. And how many high-end audio systems do you know can play metal at crazy volumes, which I did. Thank God our Sabrinas can handle the abuse that we sometimes gently impart to it. But wow, I don't know what else to say. It's a phenomenal preamplifier.
All I can say is at the end of the night, last night, when I did most of my intense listening, I left at about 11.
Yeah.
But I spent the last hour just listening to the C1100, which I normally don't do because I only play snippets of songs because I know my playlist so well. But I was just mesmerized again. I'm going like, oh. And before I knew it, the song was over. And the next song started, and then that was over. And so it went through a list of things, and it actually stayed for an extra 10 songs. I started playing a lot of trip-hop. I played electronica, and it's just all so good. It's not an easy. I mean, it is an easy thing to enjoy. It might not be so easy to explain. You really got to hear it. It's just I don't quite understand what the alchemy is in that preamp.
Yeah, me neither. But certainly 2 thumbs up as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Very enthusiastic.
Angus, any last words? Anything that we want to add? Do you have a chance to listen to it at all?
Yeah, I did. Wow, it's kind of crazy how good it is. I don't really know how to put it into words. Like, I thought the C22 was good because I had the C22 hooked up first, and I was like, oh, this is really nice. And then I hooked the C1100 up, and then I listened to the same tracks, and you just hear so much more. I noticed like these little things in the tracks that I'd never noticed before, which is kind of ridiculous because the level of stuff that we have here is already, with the C22, is already like pretty expensive, pretty up there in terms of price. But then when you go to the C1100, it's like a cut above, very clearly a cut above. Yeah.
Very cool. Any last words, anybody, before we wrap up?
So I have a little story. One of my clients, Craig, I know you're out there. You're probably watching. He has a C1100. We actually lent him our demo, and he had the demo for a little bit, and then he got his new unit, and he's been using the new unit since then. He swears that his unit does not sound as good as our unit. Now, I cannot hear any difference between those two, but he swears. So that's the degree of involvement that we have with some of our clients who can hear even the tiniest differences.
Well, you should describe Craig a little bit.
Well, Craig is a sight impaired person. He's legally blind. He lives in a downtown Toronto condo. It's a nice room. It's a bit square in size, so setting up the system there is a little bit difficult. And he has a C1100. He originally bought a C53 from us, which he really liked, and immediately decided he needed the C1100, which is the only thing better than the C53. He uses a MC462, and he has a pair of 803 D3s, B&Ws, which is actually a very classic combination. 800 series B&W and McIntosh amplification is a good match. And but he's just gone off a little bit off the rails because he swears that they sound different, and I can't fathom how you can have that precise a memory of something.
Well, he will have more sensitivity in his hearing than perhaps you and I will, because he has to depend on his hearing much more than we do.
So he wants to drop off his C1100 and have us compare it. And I'm thinking I'll have to get Angus to listen to it because he's probably got better ears than I do.
Yeah, we'll compare it. Anyway, we'll wrap up because we got to open the store, and I've got to talk to Angus's boss, his school boss, and because Angus is
Isn't that at 1?
yeah, I don't know what time, 12 or 1.
You said 1.
Yeah, so Angus is here during his work term. He goes to University of Waterloo and he studies geography. So geography is the equivalent.
It's the natural lead into high-end audio sales.
Is the equivalent of studying basket weaving. So he's decided to choose to work here during his work term, and his counselor, is it called counselor?
Yeah.
Yeah, his counselor is going to be calling me to ask me how well he's been doing, and boy, I've got notes. I've got bad notes about the
No,
beef.
he's done very well.
About don't spoil him. We're Chinese. We're supposed to do the Chinese.
No praise,
thing.
no
That's
praise.
Right. Yeah.
Feels bad.
I can't believe you're only averaging this much. You should be doing way better.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you've slogged through this whole thing, I appreciate it. As usual, please subscribe, turn on notification. Oh, by the way, if this video will drop after the other videos, so we will be celebrating our 30th anniversary this November. 30 years. So we will have special promotions, savings, deals on specific items. It will start November the 2nd and it will end the moment the products are gone or end of November. So we'll be posting more details on our website, social medias, and so on. I'll get Jerry or Angus to link that video below. And also, for those of you who are local, the Toronto AudioFest is happening this year, October 22nd, I believe, whichever the Friday is. Until Sunday, please come and support the show organizers. We won't have a room there, but we will have a table or a booth. We're helping one of our vendors. They've got some great deals on i5, which again, we'll be doing a video later to give you an idea of what those deals are. However, you can only buy those products or take advantage of it on the day of the show itself. I'm trying to see if they'll allow us to also post it on our website or our online store so you can also purchase it for that day. But savings are great. i5 is already an incredible deal as it is. So to save money, fantastic. So again, the video will be linked in the description box if we already have it. Otherwise, just stay posted to our social media or on our website. Anyway, thanks for watching again. I appreciate it. Adrian from Audio Excellence Canada, Vilip, and Angus. See you next time. Bye-bye.